Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to talk about something I think is kind of an interesting topic of discussion, and that being not wanting politics in, your superhero fiction. Specifically, I'm referencing, I think this kind of applies to both to comic books as graphic novels and stuff like that, but obviously this is more so me coming from the perspective of someone who watches movies and TV shows. Not that I have this stance, but I think it's an interesting discussion point that that is something that some people don't like. The reason what kind of inspired me to kind of think about this was like a little while back, when the Watchmen was airing on HBO, some people didn't like, they're like, oh, like I don't want my superhero stuff to have political commentary or whatever, or deal with politics, which I can understand that mindset, because it's like, okay, I use this to get away from the real world, so you don't like the fact that your fiction kind of depicts the real world and kind of adds that, which, for one, getting back to the conversation of, oh, not wanting the TV show Watchmen to be political, a lot of, some people would actually push back against that by being like, what are you talking about? The original graphic novel was political. It was a political commentary within itself, so it's only right that the TV show maintains that aspect as well. But I get it. I'm someone who's not really someone who really deals with politics. I don't really talk about politics and stuff like that. Obviously, you might hear my opinions on certain things here and there, just within the nature of potentially like some of the TV shows I watch, where it kind of flows, that in itself kind of plays a part in the conversation. But I think it's interesting because obviously people use their work in this particular way of, storytelling, to be a means of showing, and using their voice in a means of protest or in support, showing people, where they stand, because it's a thing of like, actions speak louder than words. So it's a thing of just me saying this, let me show you my beliefs and where I kind of stand on certain subjects, my thoughts potentially, or the thoughts of many people associated with this project's thoughts on a certain thing. So like, obviously, I think a lot of that was shown through like the Watchmen series. I think the same thing applies. Another recent example would be The Boys. The Boys had a lot of commentary on not just political stuff, but they also had commentaries on a lot of different aspects of the world, their stances on certain things like celebrity, and like obviously how the modern age of social media can be used for good, and like there's a lot of commentary in those. So I think it's interesting because obviously stories are usually told to be these kind of reflections of the real world. So like I said, I get like you not wanting that, but I always think it's always interesting to kind of, it's taking us, taking to real world stuff and kind of putting your own spin to it, even if it is something superhero related, because I think a lot of superhero stuff stems from political angles, like, because there are obviously reflections of the stories at the time of like creation. Remember where Captain America started off at, when Steve got the serum, rather than fighting and, wanting to be out there in the front lines because he wanted, to fight for his home. It's like, I don't want to just be that kid from Queens. I want to do something. I want to fight for my country. I want to do the right thing, fight for the right thing. But what did they use him as? He just became a symbol of propaganda. Like, maybe the political side of things isn't something that's always just, like I said, it's just a reminder of the real world. But like I said, I think it is a situation of, once again, using your art to kind of, be a representation of your voice, kind of letting people know, I stand with you, or I stand against this. This is just my personal view. Maybe it's not always a situation where I'm trying to alienate someone, but just kind of showing, your perspective, your view on everything, because not everyone sees the world the exact same way. And there are certain experiences that people have that someone else will never experience, because like, maybe it's like, oh, you've never known what it's like to look at the world from the view of someone that's black or Asian or Hispanic or so on and so forth. And these depictions and these fictions can be that outlet to get certain stories and certain perspectives out there in certain regards. And I think on certain perspectives on certain issues, whether it's just full-blown political issues or whether it be issues that get labeled as political, which are more human issues than anything, I think it's just the, wanting to tell a story and having a message behind it, not just, because I get it, like sometimes, like I said, you don't want to think about the things, you just want to turn your brain off. It's like, oh, I just want some stupid, dumb, fun action with like a superhero thing. You don't want it to kind of, but I think for a lot of people, it's like, and I'm labeling this all as political, but it's not just political stuff, it's just commentaries in general on, like I said, a lot of stuff can be commentary on the human condition. You're just, a great example, most recent example would be like WandaVision, obviously being a commentary on love and grief, So, when you're able to kind of take a superhero story and tell such a very complex, because human emotions, that's not an easy, like, dealing with human emotions isn't just like the easiest thing in the world, because the human heart is super complex, and to kind of wrap that around in a story, I think is, really interesting. And so it isn't just a political thing, it is just like a commentary on just many different aspects of life in general. Like I said, just some of those commentaries can be reflection of political aspects, which are a part of everyday life. So I can, like I said, I can get where some people might not like it as much when it comes to political angle, but I think like I said, it's just there are certain things that are going on in the world, and some people feel like, I want to use my voice to show where I stand. I mean, you have shows, that I feel like, to me personally, like, I think, like, for example, Jessica Jones and, like, Doom Patrol, for example, are superhero properties that I think do a really good job of, or being commentaries or showcases on trauma, on, like, having been through something so traumatic, and, like, what someone's way of working through it, I mean, even using Doom Patrol, continuing to use Doom Patrol, that being, a comment, like, on how people kind of, like I said, not only how they deal and try and heal from trauma, but also a lot of, about, self-acceptance for who you are, despite your background or your circumstances, So it's interesting, obviously stories can be told like that. Obviously, like I said, I'm talking more specifically for the TV and movie realm, because those are the things I'm more familiar, but I know obviously this aspect doesn't just apply there, it applies everywhere, because I mean, obviously you even see it in, not just comedy, but like stand-up comics do a lot of, can do a lot of commentary in that same regard, obviously, in the same vein of superhero stuff, there is, comic books that do the same thing as well, so it's a fascinating thing. And I'm legitimately curious. This is kind of my ultimate question, like, do you like that about TV shows? Would you want your TV shows to be less commentary on stuff? Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be political stuff, but I feel like that is probably, like, because politics can be such a hot button issue a lot of times, so for some people it's like, I don't bring that into this thing that I like. I can understand that, I can get that perspective, but I think it is always interesting what stories can be weaved. Like I said, I think it also adds this element in certain shows, kind of adding, like, showing you, like, that, that human element to any story, that, yeah, this might be this fictitious world, but it doesn't mean, like, these are real people and these are real points of views and how they can affect people's story. I mean, I think sometimes it makes a lot more digestible for some people if you put something in a more fictional sense. It makes them probably take a, it kind of gives them a look into the mirror and be like, okay, I can see the similarities between what kind of effect it had in this quote-unquote fictional world with superheroes and stuff like that. But, because it adds this level of groundedness to it, and I don't know. I'm just curious, like, at the end of the day, is that something that you enjoy? Do you want more of? Do you want less of? I'm not doing a really good job of flushing this out. I do apologize, but it's just something that's always kind of rummaged through my mind, that this is just a video of pure verbal diarrhea, because I'm not forming my thoughts completely the way I want them to come out. So, but I just think it's an interesting topic of conversation that I'd love to get to know your thoughts. Really, that's all I'm going to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good.